Welcome back to the channel. We have a big game at the weekend. Let's talk about it. So, Celtic Rangers, Glasgow Derby, Old Firm, depends which side of the coin you're on, really.
Don't trigger people.
That must be the quickest I've triggered people in a video about football. But Celtic Rangers, Ibrox, no fans in the stadium. We're obviously Celtic going to 1 point ahead. Rangers have a game in hand. How is it going to go? That is the $1 million question. Now, I think this is the first season in, a while. Obviously, in the past, I think Andrew's first season was relatively close, but this is looking like, to me, Paul, like it's going to go right to the wire. And these games could be the real defining point into where it's going to go. I've been thinking about what results are required for both teams here and what suits everybody. And there's a part of me that ultimately feels like I've got this gut feeling that Celtic need to win.
We need to win.
And I don't know. I know that's because you could look at it and go, right, well, we are, let's say it's a draw, right? We're playing them and then they win the game in hand and go 2 points ahead of us, right?
Yeah, they'll beat Dundee.
Aye.
You've got to imagine.
So but then we play them at Celtic Park, right? But I'm a big believer in momentum, and I feel like basically what I'm trying to say is a draw makes me feel too nervous about the game at Celtic Park. I want Celtic to win this game.
Yeah.
But how do you think it's going to go?
Well, I don't think Celtic need a win. I think a positive result at Ibrox takes. I think that pushes the momentum towards Celtic. I think the pendulum sort of swings back. It's the last couple of weeks we've looked okay, and we've had Hatate and Carter Vickers come back for injury. It looks like McGregor might make it. We're almost at a full strength team for the first time this season. I don't know if that tells us anything. Is it like a sign that we're going to do well? But I don't think we need a win. I think a positive result, anything positive on Sunday, I'll be happy. Kind of feels like, do you remember the game that we won 2-1? Where Maida scored early and then Carter Vickers scored, or is that right? Rogic? No, it was Tom Rogic that scored. They went 1 up. Yeah. And obviously at that time as well, I think was it Giovanni Van Bronckhorst? Van Bronckhorst had them playing okay. They were doing really well in Europe. I think they'd beat us in the semi-final at Hampden, so it felt like the momentum was gone for them. We were going to Ibrox. We didn't play particularly well, and we won 2-1. And I remember the video of the wee boy at the end where he was like, it's done. I think if we win on Sunday, you're saying we have to win. I don't agree, but I think, see, if we win on Sunday, I think we'll win the league. I'll start to really, truly believe that we can win the league. And I think it will be a devastating blow for them if it does happen, because we have been so poor. Can you imagine, right, if Rangers had been so poor, getting beat at home and away by like Hearts, dropping points, and we were still top of the, they were still top of the league. We had all this momentum, brought in a new manager, playing great, blowing teams away, all the press on our side, but yet still Celtic are top of the league, even though with that game in hand. I think if we win on Sunday, I think it'll be an absolutely devastating blow for this Rangers team. I don't think they'll come back for it. Do I think we will win on Sunday? I don't know.
Well,
I don't know. So there's my rant over about how I think it's going to go.
I mean, I think my biggest problem is, obviously, you're talking about the game with Carter Vickers scored. I remember that and thinking what a intense game that was, because I didn't expect us to win that game. And when Vickers scored, it was like you're just waiting for the whistle to go, and it could be very much the same on Sunday. But
I think we're in for an intense game on Sunday.
Yes, for sure. I think the thing that scares me the most, and why I say I feel like we need to win, is because I don't. The problem I have is because, like you say, a draw would be on paper for us right now a positive result for how we've been playing and how it's been going, and you would take it maybe before the game, because. But I think my biggest concern is, and the reason why I feel like we need to win is because I don't necessarily trust us in the running. So
which I can understand why.
Yeah.
But here's why. I think if we win on Sunday, we'll win every game at the end of the season, because if we get, an 80% fit Rio Hatate, a 75% fit Callum McGregor, like say a 90% fit Cameron Carter-Vickers, we go to Ibrox and we get a result, I think we'll blow I would say that a full strength Celtic team blows every other team in this league out the water. I think when we take the emotion out of the season and you look back, not once have we had our strongest 11 on the park. I actually heard a perspective that was saying that without Brendan Rodgers, this could have been such a really bad season for Celtic if it had been somebody else. Don't know how true that is, but I think if we get that pendulum and that momentum to swing and everybody stays fit, I think we'll blow everybody away coming into that post-split. But I do understand why. I have also thought, do I think we'll beat everybody in the running? I don't trust us against everybody else. Such a weird sort of feeling. And we're going to need to play Hearts again. And, who have been the sort of bogey team of the season,
I mean, I completely agree that if we win, I think we'll win the league. I do agree with that. But the thing is,
if we get beat, you think it might go the opposite way against the other teams?
My main thing is, I'm thinking, right, so if we don't win, the next best result is a draw. And my thing is, for me, if we draw, I'm looking at, it's still a positive result, I'm just looking at the run-in, and there's nothing about this Celtic team this season that showed me we can go on that run to win week in, week out for the next 5 to 6 weeks. And that's, I think that's why I go, if we actually are going to lift the trophy this season, it feels like to me
we're going to need to win both.
We're going to need to win both the
Glasgow
games.
derbies.
Aye, but at the same time, you could argue the fact that they might not necessarily go on that run either. So, in terms of, are Rangers going to win every game from now in?
I mean, it's debatable, but looking at the record against everybody else, probably.
They've had a better record than us.
Other than us. I would love to lift the trophy and win these last 2 games. I'd love to win on Sunday. Like I said, I think if we do it on Sunday and we do put in a performance, and I mean, it's literally one of the only games this season where you're fuck the performance, just get the result. See if we get the result on Sunday. I think it would be so devastating to them and such a confidence boost for us that I think that could, and I think it would carry us through to the end of the season. Like I said, I think if we do win on Sunday, we'll win the last 5 games, which will include them coming over to Celtic Park. But I don't think we need it to happen. I think we could still get beaten Sunday and still win the league.
That's what I was going to go into there, right? Because it's interesting. I've heard a lot of discourse about how the title race in England, there was Man City and Arsenal when they were playing at the weekend. There was a lot of talk of Man City. I heard Gary Neville saying if Man City lose, they can still win the league. If Arsenal lose, they won't win the league. And when it comes to this game at the weekend with Celtic and Rangers, we talked about how devastating it would be for Rangers if Celtic were to win. But what happens if Rangers do go out and beat us at the weekend? Do we still think that Celtic have a chance of winning this? Because for me, I think if they win, it puts them 2 points clear with a given hand.
Yeah.
And so basically, what we're then needing is for them to slip up out with the game against us.
We would need somebody else to beat them. For us to win at Celtic Park and for us to win the last 5 games.
So if I'm being objective about it, there's a part of me that thinks that what we then need to do if we lose this game is go on a run where we win every other game.
Yeah, it's a miracle, eh? Like
Right.
we're hoping for a miracle.
But we do have the quality to do it. But when we talk about how devastating the loss would be for Rangers, when you talk about momentum and confidence, and mentally, that's going to be a hard result to come back from if we do end up losing Ibrox. And I guess that's where we go from when I say we need to win. Is it more we need to not lose?
I think there's a lot of people out there that are expecting Rangers to win this game.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't know if it would be quite as devastating for us as what it would be for them. I think psychologically, I think that there's something about going there with no fans and the expectation of these derbies now when you go away from home. I think the home advantage is a even bigger advantage now. We would be hoping for a miracle, but just see in my head, I'm always just like, Celtic have always done things like that. We've never done it the easy way, have we?
Yeah.
So there's always that thing with Celtic, last minute goals under, multiple managers, that sort of we never say die, like mentality that there's just something about maybe like still no over. I can remember sitting, we've mentioned this season before while we've been reviewing this season, the 2007-2008, and I think even 4 games left, mate, there was people like, there is no way Celtic can win this league, and we did it. I've always had that, like, until it's mathematically impossible and there's always games against them, there's always a chance. I don't think they've got that same mentality. Philip Clement has come in and changed their mentality, but let's have it right. He won a cup final against Hibs. He's expected to win that shit, right? Do they have the bottle to come and beat us back to back? Let's find out. That's like my sort of thing, where it's like, let's find out if they've got that mentality. But there's definitely a core of this team, including guys like Joe Hart, Vickers, Callum McGregor, even like Kyogo's with James Forrest and stuff that know how to win. And so I just that sort of disagree. I don't think that we need a win on Sunday. I think that if we can get a positive result, amazing. But even if we do get beat, I don't think it's done. There will be plenty of people out there that want you to think it's done, but I don't think it's quite done.
I totally get where you're coming from there, and I think what's interesting for me is when I look at it, I go, I mentioned how you were talking about how devastating it would be for them to lose, and then I was trying to make the comparison. But I think what I've actually, when you're talking about that, what I'm realising is it's not so much how devastating for us it would be to lose against them at Ibrox. It's more so the belief that it could give them and that team to go in front of their 50,000 plus and beat us and say we're top of the league by a game in hand, and that momentum and that, because I don't know if this team necessarily believe they can win the league, because Celtic have played Rangers twice this season and lost both times, right? So if they
Rangers have lost both times.
Aye. So
you said there Celtic have played Rangers twice this season and lost both times. So
Rangers have lost both times.
Rangers have lost both times.
So I just think that in terms of a belief for them and their players and their manager to actually believe they can go on and win it, that could be a big turning point for them.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe not necessarily completely rolling our team or rolling Celtic's belief out of them, but more so giving Rangers the idea that they could actually go on and win it. But like you say, I think when we talk about momentum, they still need to come to Celtic Park, and then if you beat them, if Celtic beat Rangers there, then the momentum swings again with a few games to go. So, and then you're not even mentioning the split there. But for me, I completely get what you're saying, and don't get me wrong, if Rangers win at the weekend, I'll be coming on here being like, Celtic, we can still do this, don't tell me it's over. Right?
But you just feel, you've got a feeling that we need a win at the weekend.
As I'm sitting here now, I'm going, if a draw is not a disaster, but I think my gut's telling me if we lose at the weekend, I think they'll win it. And by the way, I want to be wrong on that.
You'll be happy if that's what.
But and And because you're right, it's going to. I think this season's going to go down to the wire because I think between the two Celtic Rangers games, they'll drop points, we'll drop points, and it just depends on who can be more consistent.
I mean, like as a football fan, I'm like I want it to go to the last day of the season.
Oh man, no, I don't.
But as a Celtic supporter, it's
God.
like stuff of nightmares into it.
Oh man, I just don't. I don't even know if I can handle that. Like. Because the thing is, but it does feel like when you look at these two teams, because you need to remember, mate, at the start of the season, this Rangers team looked awful. I remember, like, people were saying, you know, I know you can say a lot about what Beale was doing, but in terms of the individual players they had, Dessers and all these players that were brought in, they just weren't quite hitting the mark. I know Cantwell was doing well now, but there was a point where you were looking at them going, what is this guy all about? So, obviously, the managers come in and change that. But in terms of the quality that they have, they don't really have.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, is that he's managed to shift that mindset, and he's managed to shift momentum, and he's managed to get some, you know, brilliant results. See when you actually watch them, and listen here, Celtic are no great shapes either, right? But see when you actually watch this Rangers team play. They lack quality, I think, all over the park. They are lucky that their goalkeeper's going to be player of the season, put it that way. He's pulled them out of fires a couple of times, and Jack Buckland's a world-class goalkeeper, I think, you know. We've seen enough of him to be like, that's a good goalkeeper. But they've done well, and I think it's actually like even more testament to how good a coach that Clement actually is, that they don't have the quality, and he's managed to shift it. And well, we're going to see what happens on Sunday. Like I know you're saying there, I don't know if I can cope with the last day of the season, but I think Sunday's going to be a nerve wracker as well. Like it's not going to. This is what football's all about, mate. Mm-hmm. This is why we're Celtic and Rangers fans. Like, see when I'll be honest with you, see when it was Dyla, see when it was just Neil Lennon against Aberdeen. Like I did not enjoy that. Like this is the stuff. This is it. Like the anxiety, the pressure, the build up. The big games, the big wins, the big losses, this is what it's about. You can't have one without the other. We can't be celebrating properly. Like, like, if we win this one, it's going to be mega. I mean, mega, mate. Like, that first one that we won under Ange was mega. Like, that was like, we didn't expect it. We were in a transitional period. But if we do it, how poor we've been this season, how many decisions have went against us, injuries have went against us, transfer windows, whatever, had been an absolute shambles, and we still at the end of the season lift that league. It's going to be so good. It's just going to be so good. It's going to be so bad for them as well. So it's going to be such a sweet one. Like, and that's what I just keep on coming back to. Just keep on coming back to, like, we could still win this. Like, and if we do, it's going to be so good.
Yeah, keep the faith in it.
Aye, man, fucking right.
I think, when you talk about Clement being this really, this good coach that's got the best at this squad, though, that's one of the reasons why it would be so sweet, because there's a lot on the line here, not just for this season, but I think for the next few seasons, and you can feel that, because I think that he's proven himself to be a good coach. Do you know what I mean? With getting what he has out of this Rangers team tells you a lot about what he's done, how he is the coach. Because there was a point early on in the season where I thought Celtic would run away with this. We were 9 points clear. Beale's team looked all over the shop, and I just thought we would, I thought we were going to just.
It was going to be done at a canter, wasn't it?
It did feel like that. So the fact he's made it like this is very impressive. But also,
well, we have been the masters of our own demise in a lot of the ways. Like, we've been dropping points at times when you're like, we should not be dropping points to that, But that's no taking away for the fact that they've kept their foot on the gas through us, fucking about and finding out. Do you know what I mean? Which has definitely happened this season.
Well, the thing is, though, mate, if they do win the league, you're looking at this coach being able to go in with some money and get the players he wants.
Yeah.
And that's where we could be in trouble. Because so there's a lot on the line, and for me, the reason why I'm saying Celtic need to win is there's there's a part of me that believes that we can, and knows that what I think the key is for the Celtic team is to kind of just look at ourselves and remember who we are. We're the champions. We've got the players. We've beat them twice this season already. One of them being at Ibrox at 1-0 with new players all over the shop. They'd never played there before.
Yeah, the back four was hilarious that day.
You know, the coach is great and all that, but at the end of the day, it's about the 11 players on the pitch. And the players we have need to remember that we're the better team.
Yeah. I think from a Celtic perspective, Rangers, it's it's a good game for them to begin into. They'll be confident, they're on a run and blah, blah, blah. For us, like, we seem to have picked up a bit of form and also, like, a bit of form, right? Just before anybody says it, I'm talking about we have picked up a bit of form, like, and, but we've also got these key players coming back at this time where, thankfully, they may still have an influence on where the league title goes. If you watched Rio Hatate at the weekend, if that's that guy, he's the speed of play, the passing, like, he's just such a good football player. So I think we're getting the players back at the right time. Do you think he'll play McGregor?
Do you know, as much as McGregor would be such a huge miss for us, I just don't know. Well, think of it this way: we've talked about the running, right? The league, whichever way you look at it, I can sit here and say I feel like we need to win, or I feel like if we lose, we won't be. We're not going to win the league and all that. But the league is not won and lost this weekend, right? And I think McGregor is going to be really important for the running. So my concern would be you rush him back for us, then he gets injured again, and he's out for the rest of the season. That would be because then what if you rush him back, we'll lose anyway, and then he's out. You go, fuck, we've messed up there. So you've got Bernardo, you've got Hatate, you've got O'Reilly. Play the guys that are fit.
Right. So I would imagine that if he was going to play a midfield three, it'll be a Wata.
Oh, well, I mean,
O'Reilly and Hatate. But
you've got options.
He definitely has options.
It's
absolutely.
not a weekend apart for us right now. And you've got to believe that guys like O'Reilly, Wata, Hatate,
are good enough.
They're good enough. And if they're not,
I think for me, I agree with you, but I think he'll get played. I'm with you, but he's the captain, and it'll probably get put down to him. And I think if he can, he will. And I'm like you, the nightmare scenario as he pulls up 10 minutes in and we get beat 2-1. But because the best scenario is he comes through the game and we win the game. So, like, this is what it just always seems to happen to us in this way sometimes with the Celtic Rangers games where these guys coming back from injury and we need to make these decisions. But I reckon if he does come through a couple of training sessions, he'll be on the park. I don't see him no playing him.
My concern would be he gets maybe one training session and he's still feeling it a wee bit and then play him anyway. And then you go, look at what happened to there was a game we played where I think Greg Taylor pulled up. It was actually the game Mida scored that we mentioned earlier. Mida scored, and then they came right back into it.
We had to put on Juranovic at left back, half injured.
But it changed the whole game.
Yeah,
and my concern is that when the midfield is so important, your midfield get up to speed. So if he's 50-50. Or 60-40, and we play him and he pulls up, then you get a midfielder coming on half an hour into it.
Cold
as fuck.
No, I agree with you.
There's a lot of. I would, if it was me, I'd have him in the squad, and I would say having him in the squad, having him in the dressing room, would be beneficial. Mm-hmm. But unless he's like 90% fit, he shouldn't start the game.
Well, we're going to see.
But at the same time, do I want to see him on the team sheet? Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
What's your predictions?
That's the thing, prediction time in it. I think that I'm going to try and take my hat off and be objective, but I think I'm going to go one each.
Right.
I think it'll be a draw. I think both teams will obviously win, but I think both teams will be petrified of losing.
Right, a cagey affair at one each, right?
I can't see this Celtic
Right.
team not. I can't see this. I can't see both defences not conceding at least one goal.
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-0 Celtic.
Well, listen,
Samaras Sunday. Here we go.
I certainly hope so, mate. I certainly hope so. Well, it's all going to play out this weekend, so I'm sure we'll see. And like you say, at the end of the day, it's going to be exciting. Your nerves are going to be rattled, whatever side of the coin you're on, and it's just about being like, man, let's just enjoy the ride. It's weird how the older you get, the more you watch these games, you go, man, I feel so alive watching this. It feels terrible, but I feel great, and there's very few moments in life where you get the feeling of either euphoria or devastation of scoring or conceding in those games. And I'll be watching it in a caravan in Craig Tara with a bunch of Rangers fans around me, so that's going to be interesting.
Oh wow!
So I don't know what's going to be more worrying for me if we do win. Then I might get battered because I'm going to be going off on that. And if we lose, I'll be jumping out there as quickly as possible. But I'm really looking forward to it, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Please, if you've not subscribed already, please feel free to leave a comment, subscribe. There'll be more content coming. We have recorded 2 podcasts that are in the bag that will be coming out sooner rather than later. We have my word on that, and we have more guests coming up. So please stay tuned for all the content coming, and I hope you enjoyed this video.